All right, Greg, welcome to the Leaders Who Care series.
Great to be here with you, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Well, I know you care, but now we're going to show them the Show Me State. Is that Kansas? Can't remember the Show Me State or Missouri. Which one is it?
I think it is Kansas or Missouri.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll show them. No, it's good to have you here. I know you're doing great stuff, and I'm so happy to be able to share you with the rest of the world here. So, always the best place to start is and I have to put an asterisk, especially for men, is to have you briefly introduce yourself. And what I mean by that is not what you do, but
Hmm.
like where you're from originally, where are you now, stuff you feel comfortable talking about family, maybe something you've never told anybody that you want to
Hmm.
reveal now to the world. That always can be a little bit of fun. Tell us about Greg.
Yeah, so I grew up in Wisconsin, and
Mhm.
probably one thing that's interesting, I'm the oldest of four boys. So born in Milwaukee, grew up in Racine, went to school up in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Hmm.
But what might be interesting is, and I think this is true, I looked it up at one point. I don't know if it's still true or not. But when I went to university, I played D3 football at Lawrence and started my sophomore and junior year. I had another brother who came and joined me and was playing. And then my third brother came and joined the team as well. Now it's unfortunate this has to go public because I would not say this in public normally, but my third brother was probably the best athlete in the family. I still beat him in basketball, but overall as an athlete, he was the better athlete.
Maybe he won't see this, so he won't know.
Yeah, maybe actually, if it is my brother, he probably won't take the time to see this, so I think I'm probably safe. So anyway, but he was the better athlete of the family. And we were going to my senior year of football. I had my two younger brothers playing on the team. The only game we lost was my first game my junior year. And then going through my senior year, the next time we lost was our last game my senior year.
Well,
And so we had the longest winning streak in the NCAA in all three divisions at one point,
hmm.
which is pretty neat. And we ended up going to the NCAA playoffs for the first time in the school's history.
That is pretty good.
And
Reminds me of that. Who's that? Is it baseball or football high school coach that had a 150 game streak or something up in the Bay Area? It was like they made a movie out of it. It was
yeah,
crazy. Did you guys, when you were younger, did you play football together?
we did. We played together in high school. But high school was a little more difficult. University was easier to play together, like on the
Hmm.
same team.
Hmm.
The week before the season started, I tore up my knee playing softball. And so I never played it down my senior year. The whole team was inducted into the University Hall of Fame because it was the best football team in the history of the university.
Oh,
And I think in the NCAA playoffs, we would have been the first football team in an NCAA playoff situation with three brothers starting on the team. But never happened. Woulda,
that's
coulda, shoulda.
you look up to the sky and say, I really didn't mean to steal that candy when I was three. You
Exactly.
know, well, that's a shame. But did it give you any incentive moving on?
Well, I mean, there were some things that happened to me through the injury and some people I met and some things I did and some experiences I had that were quite formational for me. So, as much as I missed playing and being a part of that team and finishing out my career, as I look back on it, I don't know if I'd trade the things that happened to me. And so,
They say things happen for a reason, and I think that's part of it. But it's also
yeah,
then what do you do with it, or
right.
do you do something with it? So when you were little, so you just had two brothers, no sisters?
I have three younger brothers.
Oh, three younger brothers. Okay, so
Right.
there's the four
So
of
then
you,
there was
right?
a fourth brother who wasn't close enough to also go to college as well with us, but my brother John, who's the youngest. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got three sons and a bonus daughter, so I guess four altogether kind of matches something like that.
There you go.
Any grandkids or anything like that?
I do. I have three kids and two grandkids, and I have a stepson getting married coming up, and I'm excited to go out and see him get married and marrying a lovely, lovely lady, and very excited to celebrate with them.
Well, make his day and call him a bonus son instead of a stepson next time.
Exactly. Bonus son. He's a great kid.
There
That
you
was
go. That
great.
is cool.
Yeah, I love them both.
So you talked about going, I'm going to go back a little bit again. When you were really young, like 5 to 10 years old or whatnot, were you playing sports or did you have a lemonade stand, like entrepreneur stuff or Lego or computers? What were you up to?
Yeah, so when I was really young, like I did play a lot of sports starting in like third, fourth, fifth grade.
Hmm.
And I was always very active on the playground, which was funny because my father was never in sports in grade school or high school. He was more into music and acting and plays and things like that. But he had a whole family of sons who were very athletically oriented. So I don't know where the gene slipped in that passing on, but we
Mom?
are very different. Maybe, no, my mom is not. My mom's a wonderful human being, but athletics would not have been one of her fortes. Um, and so I did play a lot of sports young, but probably the thing that might have been most influential for me is when I was somewhere in kindergarten, first grade. I had a near-death experience. So I was in a neighborhood in Waukesha where I was hanging out with kids who were 3, 4, 5 years older than me. And so I was always getting dared to do things. And one thing they dared me to do was there was the Fox River in Waukesha, and we could walk to it. And there was one of those dams with the metal beams and the big plates that controlled the flow of the river.
Sure.
And the kids dared me to walk across it.
Of course.
And
I
I took the dare. I'm
kind
taking
of
it.
figured.
Yeah. And so I'm walking across and I've fallen into the river. Now,
Oh,
fortunately, I fell into the water side and not the rock side. So I was fortunate there. And I remember being underwater and looking up and seeing green and yellow. There was a lot of algae in the river and seeing the sun and being completely at peace. Like I don't remember any panic.
hmm.
And the next thing I recall is a gentleman saying, "Can I take you home?" And so fortunately, there was someone there who jumped in, saved me, gave me mouth to mouth, brought me back. And then when he said, "Can I give you a ride home?" I said, "No, I can't take rides from strangers."
Right.
Not knowing that this guy had just jumped in because I was unconscious.
That's
And
amazing. He was your angel.
he was my angel. And when he brought me home, my parents never got his name.
Wow.
I have no idea who that
Did
individual
he
who
didn't
is.
start singing "Take Me Home, Country Road"? He didn't do that, right?
He didn't do that, not that I recall. So, but that was a pretty formative experience for me as well. And I think in part, and I've talked to other people who've had near-death experiences, I'm just very trusting.
It's not a bad
And
characteristic.
no, it's not bad. I'm open and I'm trusting. And I can't say for sure, but I think part of it can be traced back to that experience.
Well,
So that,
there's an expression that it only takes one person to believe in you.
mm,
So it probably only takes one person to make you believe, you know?
yeah. And I think in part I'm not afraid of death, and I think I can go back to that moment, even though I didn't have words for it at the time. I think it gave me a visceral experience not to need to be afraid. So
Were you
I was
spiritual before that?
I think yes. So I grew up Catholic, went to a Catholic grade school, Catholic high school, actually getting my master's at Boston College, which is Catholic as well, Catholic Jesuit University.
Hmm.
And I do recall as a like in first and second grade going like walking early to go to church in the morning for daily service. So, and I don't know if my parents made me or if I chose to do that on my own, but I do know my class didn't have to go. I usually did it before I went to school, and it was optional. So, um, yeah, I guess there was a spiritual bend there.
Yeah, it
So,
happens, and I think those things are good. It puts you in a place that's like no other place, type of thing, and makes you think of nothing else. Was that um the trigger, the impetus, the thing that I know you went to got your degree in biology initially, I believe, but then
Right.
you did go into spirituality and pastor and all of that. Was that what was still the thread hanging on?
Yeah, I mean, I have had a spiritual thread and streak through my life the whole time, from when I can remember in early grade school days and all the way through. And I did get my master's in spirituality from Boston College.
Hmm.
And I spent 7 years as a chaplain at Boston College after I graduated. So they asked me to stay on as a chaplain, which was wonderful.
But were you thinking of that like when you were like 15 or 16 or getting ready to go to the college? Was that still that what was driving you? Because you went to biology first, right?
Right. So from a personal perspective, so Mohandas Gandhi, Albert Schweitzer, um, Thomas Merton, Soren Kierkegaard were kind of all of like inspirations for me. Loved reading them and doing that. And because of Albert Schweitzer, I wanted to be a doctor. And I thought I wanted to work with people. I enjoyed science. So I got a biology degree, planning on going into medicine. But about halfway through university, I realized I liked working with the mind and the spirit more than the body. So I stayed with the biology degree, but I didn't go to medical school. And so part of what I did, I ended up teaching science in a local high school, at
Hmm.
Xavier High School, which happened to be the home of Rocky Blyer, the high school that Rocky Blyer went to.
Not
A
bad.
few famous athletes came through Xavier High School in Appleton, Wisconsin. I taught there for 4 years. I coached the freshman football team for 3 years, and did a few other things like ski club, key club, senior retreat. I mean, there was one point in my fourth year where I was gone almost 2 to 3 weekends a month doing extracurricular activity, either coaching or running a program or running a retreat, in addition to my teaching. So I did an awful lot at that high school while I was there by the end, but then left there to get my degree in spirituality. Because though I didn't go to medical school, I did want to do some more graduate work and study.
Hmm.
And so I chose Boston College, ended up there, got the master's degree, and then stayed on as a chaplain. And from there, it's always been about the mind and the spirit and group dynamics and community building, which has been my thread my whole life. And I think in part it goes back to my family. My mom and dad, if we were to say any family raised the neighborhood, it would have been my mom and dad. They had over 30 people live with us throughout my time at the house and or, through college. They always had parties. People who needed help always got support. They were always reaching out and they never even asked for repayment or anything. They just did it and gave. And I think that's in part why I'm always comfortable with groups and big organizations because I grew up with it. And my parents have a bit of chaos as well. Now, not chaos in a bad sense, but they never had a need to control the environment. And I also think that training as a kid helps me now in an environment, especially when things can be chaotic and can't be controlled, but I can still be present and engage and direct and guide. And that ability and that kind of method or thinking goes all the way back to my childhood and what my parents did.
Yeah,
And
it usually does. It may even go back to that quiet moment you had when you fell into the river,
could be.
type of thing too. And I'm talking to a lot of pro athletes, especially in hockey, because it's maybe the fastest moving aside from car racing, but in a team, there's certain players that can go at the same speed, but they've slowed the game down at the same time in their mind. And it's quite an art because then there's a lot going on and they're doing stuff and you watch them stick out all this stuff, but in their mind everything's smooth and good type of thing. And it sounds like that's what you're describing.
Mm,
Um, and it's a great skill set because players follow. Kids follow parents, employees follow bosses,
mm,
on how they're reacting and acting to things. Even a kid that falls down is waiting to see if they should be crying or not based on how the parent reacts, right? If the parent says, "Oh my God, are you all right?" The kid starts crying. because he fell. And if they go, "Oh, cool, what's going on?" The kid, nothing much.
Hmm. Yeah, I love those little videos where the kid's crying and then they distract the kid and the kid stops immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're wonderful.
Yeah, because he doesn't know if it's this good or bad. Somebody tell me.
Right. Exactly.
I think it
Exactly.
hurt. I mean, I don't know if it was Norman Lear who was iconic for me with laughter and what he's done in comedy. I think it was him that initially said, and other people said it. If you, laughter, we need laughter. And so, for example, if you stub your toe like really hard, chances are you go, oh, whatever. And however, instead of going off and you start laughing, and it'd be fake laughing, we start laughing, your brain is totally messed up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And says,
Doesn't know
"Oh,
what to
okay,
do.
I guess it doesn't hurt."
Right. Right.
Same kind of thing. Did you it's an interesting combination you had of biology and spirituality because it's you got mind, body, soul type of thing going there,
Yeah.
and which is important. And did you ever tie in heart, the heart and the brain together in any of your studies?
Well, it's fascinating because I didn't plan it this way, but now that I'm here and where I'm at, so I'm certified in heart math and I'm certified in other techniques, and I'm a lifetime meditator. I've done several 7 and 10 day silent retreats. Try to do one every year if I can. Meditate every morning. It's one of my morning habits. And to see now how the research is coming forward on the way the brain is wired, how emotions work, how to calm the nervous system, how to be present in a crisis, what goes on in the brain, like you were talking about, slowing the game down. It's also true for executives,
Of course,
people leaders,
it's a game.
in difficult meetings, giving and receiving feedback, making a presentation, how to be fully engaged and fully present without having a lot of static and noise and interference. And so my biology degree in my research and study, I did some graduate study as well on group dynamics when I was at BC. All of my studies, along with the spirituality, those two combined, are now extremely important in a business environment.
Sure.
And I don't need to mention the spiritual, but in a lot of ways, it's an internal challenge and battle, which for the most part is a spiritual endeavor.
Hmm.
How you see the world, the way you frame it, etc. So taking all of those techniques, all the study and all the experience I have, and now helping people with both the techniques, the methods, but also their inner world and putting it together puts me in a very unique situation. And I mean, I'm so thankful that the path took the turns it did. Even though I didn't know what I was doing, it's turned out really well for what I'm doing now.
Sometimes it's better not to know what you're doing, and
Exactly.
because you chances are your brain will tell you, no, do this type of thing instead of that. No, it's fantastic, what you say because for example, and I use a lot of sports analogies. People talk about meditation, and I think meditation is fantastic. But I also find a lot of people have a really hard time clearing their head and meditating.
Mhm.
And I was a little bit like that. I could, but I was taught visualization, not just to meditate, but to prepare for a game or even prepare for my CPA exams, to visualize I'm there already. So by the time I'm on the ice, I've already been there, won the game. But some people can meditate by thinking about one thing, visualization about one thing, which is the next best thing if you can't clear your mind, type of deal. Because
Yeah.
in this world today, it's harder actually for people to just absolutely have the discipline to close your eyes and get everything out of your head because there's so much going on. But that is the whole point of meditation is to make that happen. But I just found that fascinating. I don't know if you have thoughts on that.
Yeah. So I don't try to sit down and try to get everything out of my head. For me, what I try to do is to sit down and fully be present and observe everything that's going on in my head. And for me, I understand my brain is always going to be making something up. Crazy thought, unexpected emotion, triggered by a past experience or a future fear. And if I can learn just to label it and notice it and observe it, what that little habit can do for me, or that ability, or that muscle, it
Hmm.
gives me a chance to pause and reflect on, is this helpful or not? And the more I can do that, and if it's not helpful, just label it and let it go and come back to, okay, now what would be helpful? What do I want? That makes a big difference. So as an example, in my TED talk, I talk about how emotions are messengers. For most people, emotions are immediate acting out energy. If they get fearful, they do something to retract or to attack.
Hmm.
If they're, tired, they sleep. If they're whatever the emotion is, anger, anxiety, fear, loneliness, what have you. But if you can put a pause in it, because here's the thing, like Mark, think of a time when you've been really angry about something that didn't matter at all to you.
Hmm.
Can't do it. You've never been angry about something that didn't matter to you.
Well, you
And so
might call it first world problems. Get it out of the way.
it could be,
Um,
but whatever you get angry about or fearful about or resentful about, you're doing it because something matters to you.
hmm.
And part of the goal, or what I try to help people with, is that emotion is a messenger. Ask it, what's important to me right now? Get the message. Once you have the message, then you can say resentment, I don't need you. I got the message. Anger, I don't need you. I got loneliness. I don't need you. I got the message. Thank you. And now you can decide what's the next best thing for me.
No, it's
That's
brilliant. Yeah, it's brilliant. I think in some ways the same thing applies about forgiveness. Where, I mean, sometimes it's hard to, the worst things in the world can happen and to forgive somebody.
Mhm.
But there's always, and this is a spiritual and physical thing too, I believe, is
Mhm.
when you do forgive, and it doesn't mean it's easy, you feel a weight's taken off of your shoulders, and that you realize that the hate that you were holding was worse than anything the other person was feeling about being hated.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
I
it's
even
amazing,
felt things and thought things, and the other person didn't even know.
right?
Had no
Right.
clue.
Yeah, well, we like to drown ourselves sometimes and stuff like that. I'm really interested in. So I love imagination. I
Mhm.
loved imagination with the astronauts when we were kids. I love the imagination of before VR and AR and whatnot, of visualizing what the game's going to look like. I love the imagination of, as I saw on a video, a kid lying in the grass looking at the sky, talking about all the other kids that are on their phone the whole time, and he's looking at the sky and he says, "Boy, they must be exhausted. I'm relaxed." Look, just looking at the sky. And I remember those days, friends of us just lying in the grass looking at the sky, and so on. You talk about reimagination, if I'm not correct, right? Can you share what share about that?
Yeah, so part of what like awareness is, and this is a trap. So a business may be struggling with succession planning or low morale or lots of politics or silos in their business.
Hmm.
And in those struggles, they try to come up with new knowledge or new methods or new techniques in order to get over and break whatever that barrier, get over that hurdle, run through that wall is. Oftentimes, it's an emotional, personal, collective challenge that doesn't have to do with knowledge. Because most time, everyone knows the right thing to do. They just haven't done it. And so part of the reimagining is imagining that the knowledge you need is in a different spot that you can't buy. I can't buy big muscles. I've got to lift the weights to get those muscles. I can't buy fast muscles. I got to run the laps to get those fast muscles.
Hmm.
I can't buy the ability to dribble a basketball. I've got to do it for hours in order to be able to dribble. And in a lot of respects, some of the things, and it's fascinating now with AI, it's the same thing with AI. I've been in different companies and clients where the CTO, Chief Technology Officer, is tasked with making sure the organization does AI. Put
Hmm.
together a program, put together training, tell everyone they have to start using it. Let's put out the courses. Everyone is, half the people are overwhelmed, don't know where to start, don't have proper training, don't have the time to sit and watch their 30-minute or 60-minute or 90-minute online piece that the CTO or the team has just put out. And quite frankly, a lot of them are like, am I working and doing this and getting myself out of a job? So there's a whole bit of fear that goes with it as well.
Sure.
What's the intention here? That's a spiritual challenge. Now, I won't call it spiritual, let's call it human. That's a human challenge you can't buy your way out of. You have to design experiences to help people connect and sort through and get through that together versus buy some technique or tool or book and hand everyone to read it or put something online.
I love the
So,
fact that you use the word experiences because we use that a lot more than years of experience,
right.
and because they're totally different. Of
And leaders who get that are the ones who call me
course.
because they know they can't call someone who's just read a book or just gone to some big guru course and puts it on their LinkedIn page and I'm an expert. They know it's going to take someone who's been through it before and gets it. And so those are the kind of calls I get. And so when people want to reimagine, that's to answer your question. That's what reimagining is all about.
Yeah, we think we need a lot of reimagining, and I think people are the same way I always say people are craving to be cared about.
Mhm.
People are craving that feeling that that little boy lying in the grass looking at the sky had.
Mhm.
That just like peace, simple peace, happy type of thing. This famous scholar named Kobe Bryant. You might have heard of him, famous scholar.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Yeah. Yeah.
he once said, and he was brilliant once he got over the cockiness of his early in his career, and he was doing a lot for kids, which is such a shame. Um, but he once said, we should all have a dream. We should all like imagine for the dream, even visualize for the dream, whether it's winning the championship or this or that or the other. But what you got to know is the dream is right now. And he was talking about what you were just talking about, the lifting the weights, the doing this, the doing that, whatnot. That is the dream. And if you can love the dream and that imagination, then you got way more chance of getting where you're going. But you're gonna love the fact when you got there. And even if you don't get there, you're still gonna feel great.
Right. Exactly. And you mentioned the craving from a people perspective. So I just did Hopemakers, 2.5 days of Hopemakers.
No, you beat me to the punch. I was gonna ask you that question.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm
What?
just I'm
My
kidding. Go
question.
ahead. It's
I'll
fun.
finish it. All right. Let me
No,
jump in.
go ahead. No, go ahead. I want to hear about homemakers. We all do.
Yeah. And so we spend the first hour or two just getting connected and practicing listening to each other.
Well, tell everybody what Hopemakers is.
Yeah. So Hopemakers is a group of global thought leaders, people, business leaders, experts who come together, 30 to 50 of us at a time, usually twice a year, and then share our knowledge with each other, help a nonprofit solve a problem, and then connect and listen and build relationship. And we have very specific ways of doing that, intentional ways.
Hmm.
And so the first hour is just listening to each other and practice listening and listening better.
That's ridiculous. Why would you want to listen? Go
And
ahead. Sorry.
it's exactly. Now, here's what's interesting. We finished at noon on Monday. This morning, Thursday, we still had people in town who were still flying out because they wanted to hang out, be together, continue the conversation, find ways to build something, create something, do something in the world, and make a difference because they finally found a group they can trust and they can trust each other.
Hmm.
And transparency is really important for us.
Yeah.
Be honest about what you're thinking. Be honest about what you're feeling. Do it gracefully and respectfully, but be honest. Be transparent. And we're going to be transparent as a group. And that's why it was wonderful having the Brandon, the movie producer. He was very honest about what went into the meeting, what took place, what the message is, how it's working. Paper Flowers, wonderful movie. It's won a bunch of awards.
Hmm.
We had a lady who was one of the top indigenous advocates in the world. She's been recognized by the UN multiple times.
You talking about Indrani?
Diani.
Oh, Diani, because I know Indrani. She's
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
Diani. She's a wonderful lady, came and spoke to us. We have the guy who discovered
Her name,
Simon
hold it. Her name is Dirani?
Diani.
Diani. Okay.
Diani.
Sounds pretty close to Indrani.
Yeah. The guy who discovered Simon Sinek helped Simon Sinek do his Y talk. He was with us. Person who inspired Savannah Bananas. He was with us. Movie producer from LA was with us. I mean, we have some really neat people, and there's only about 30 to 50 of us. Everyone pays their own way. No one gets paid to speak. So everyone's on the same level.
Hmm.
And people walk out. Like one person walked out and said, this is the first time I've been in a room where I liked everybody. And it's not that I mean, the people in the room are different because I vet everyone, make sure they align with the values.
I'd never get in.
Yeah, it's invite only. But it's not just that, it's also just the way we start the process and treat each other.
Well,
Like,
that's what I mean by craving and hope.
yeah,
Hope is the thing that I love the name. As I think I told you when we first met. If you have hope, you got everything. If you don't have hope, then you don't have anything. And people crave hope. They crave caring. They crave all the stuff you're talking about more than I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I've had a few decades behind me, so to speak. And just because. And that's why I go back to that little boy looking up at the sky and dreaming and imagining,
right.
like crazy. No, what you're doing with Hopemakers is fantastic. And the people, when you say global, they come from everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, most of the people are from the US, but we have US, Canada, Europe, South America. People have come from Africa,
Cool.
Asia. We've had people from all over the world come and join us. Yeah.
Well, you're doing great stuff, which is why I keep talking to you, I think. Um, or like my
Yeah.
friends tell me about clients, look, Mark, they're not hiring you for your good looks, so you better bring something else to the table. And I
Yeah.
keep telling them I just need new friends, I think is the way to go. But but we always say in LA, keep them wanting more so we can do a sequel. So we may have to do that too. But I have one more question for you on this
Sure.
part. Um, there's been so much that's happened. So much has happened in our lifetimes, even from typewriters to computers to cars to what we've seen, actually, if you think about it, is amazing in our lifetime. And what's coming is probably going to be on steroids amazing. We had COVID. Who expects the whole world to shut down? And sometimes it feels like it was yesterday, sometimes years ago, COVID. Um, Again, with all that, what are you most grateful for and what are you most hopeful for?
I'm most grateful that I made it this far. I mean, I look at my high school class. Several of my classmates haven't made it this far.
Hmm.
I've had several classmates who have died. And when you look at it, and I looked at it, it's the average. It was
And
an
you were the one that
exceptional.
and you were the one that fell in the river.
I'm the one that fell in the river. Yeah, there's probably a few of us who are lucky, like really fortunate to be here, that someone else was walking by. So one would be that I've made it this far. Two, that I'm married to the woman I'm married to. Been a lovely marriage. I'm very thankful for that. And three, that I've continued to learn and grow through all my mistakes, faults, and shortcomings and difficulties. And that's been really helpful for me, not to get caught in bad stories too long.
Yeah,
So,
don't put good money after bad money or whatever they call it, type of thing. What are you most hopeful for?
I'm most hopeful that given the division that's in this country, I think the generation that's coming up, I think there are elements in the upcoming generation that are more inclusive and more insightful than any generation ever in terms of the importance of bringing everyone along, the criticalness of taking care of the planet, and the value of having balance and not just being materially oriented. So I'm fortunate to be in a country that has a lot of material wealth. And I see a lot of young people now who are not as caught up in that as previous generations. And that sentiment, at least in pockets, gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah, most teams lose a championship game before they win them.
Mhm.
So I think maybe that's some of what's happening, and I agree with you where they've seen what's gone on and they have a different championship in mind and taking on the challenge. So right on. Well, I'm grateful. I'm grateful I have a new friend. That's the first thing I would say. So I'm grateful. That's you, by the way.
I appreciate that. I'll take that. Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I'm also grateful that you are a leader who cares and you're bringing other leaders who care into play too. And in everything going on with the world, things happen for a reason and being inclusive. In fact, I just saw Barack Obama speaking at um, his presidential center that he calls it. It's not a presidential library. He's got a whole center going on there, and he's a great speech he gave about stuff like that. So I'm grateful and happy for all those things that you bring to the table, and I'm looking forward to the sequel.
Great. Thank you, Mark. I look forward to it too. Happy
Thank
to
you.
be back anytime you want.
You got it. Careful what you ask for.
Exactly.